Turn the copyright off, Brandon. A Ganassi.
Ranger.
No, you were.
No,
you,
I was a
you
ranger.
were. No, you were a necromancer.
I drew it up.
What?
Because I drew it up.
No, you were a necromancer. This is like the first time that we ever did anything. Like,
Yeah.
with Amber.
Yeah.
You were a necromancer.
No,
Named
I
Keanu Reeves or something like that.
No, that was a planned character.
Was it?
Yeah, that was a planned character.
Well, I remember you were playing a necromancer because you brought a skeleton back to life. And you turned off the flipping flame skull. You turned off the flipping flame skull. You were a necromancer.
Was I?
Yeah, and I was a bard. I was a warforged bard. You were a stone Ganassi necromancer. And then with a strength score of like 18 for some reason.
Yeah, I had cracked up stats.
Yeah, and then Colton was playing a Tabaxi druid, and then Jesse was playing a Kenku rogue. It was chaos, to say the least. We so it started out really weird. And of course, he's going to be playing flipping Call of Duty in the middle of us,
Yes.
In the middle of me trying to record a video. This is what happens every time I try to do something, and we try to talk, and then you immediately start playing a flipping video game. And now he is going.
Feelings?
He's going to be zoned out for the rest of this video and unresponsive because this is what he does. This is what he does. Every time. You will, because you're going to get way too into playing flipping Call of Duty Zombies by yourself for some reason. We were starting out, it was just like, we all met in a tavern, the DM basically said, you guys are a party now.
Yeah, there was no real way we met.
No, we just went.
We were so unprepared.
We literally all just went, what missions do you have? And then the tavern owner went, there's a castle up the road that has a giant monster in it. Cool. And then we all went out and went to go fight the giant monster. And so it started out with us like sitting out front of the castle, and I was like looking for shiny rocks, and then the Kenku rogue was looking for coins that were dropped in the road, and you were doing something, I don't remember.
I think I was playing with my inventory.
Yeah, and Colton was flipping, he was just confused on what he wanted to do, so he just stood there the entire time doing nothing.
He poked out a couple holes in the wall.
Yeah, and then eventually, I don't remember what we did, but somebody said, hey, we should probably go in there and do the thing now. And then we all just went in. It's like, okay, cool. And we encountered 3 mephits. And I cast a spell that let me speak with things, so I talked to the mephits. And then
we gained no knowledge.
You killed one of them.
Yeah.
And then Jesse killed another one.
We gained no knowledge. And
then I trapped the 3rd one in a bottle.
Did you?
Yeah, I trapped the 3rd one in a bottle and tied it up and wore it as a necklace.
I can't remember that part.
But, then we went downstairs to, like, the dungeon part of it.
Yeah.
And, we went downstairs to, like, the dungeon part of it, and there was a jabbering mouther. Like, everything was just coated in water, and there was fleshy tentacles all over the place. And we were all just sitting there. And you flipping... And I went... Like, in character, I went... Like, and, like, looked up to you and I went, how far do you think you can throw me?
Oh, yeah. We pulled some, like, Titanfall 2...
Yeah,
stuff,
some bull crap. So you picked me up with your strength of 18, and I only weigh like 125 pounds. So you just overhead, like, chucked me into the biggest mouth of the jabbering mouther with a natural 20. And then I landed inside of it, and then it was my turn next, and the DM went, so you're inside of it, what do you do now? Thunderblast. Which is just me flipping exploding.
Pulled a Thor.
Yeah, I literally just went, I cast Thunderblast on myself, and she goes, oh, what does that spell do again? It explodes. I explode in a 10-foot radius. Anything that is Anything that is within 10 feet of me gets knocked back 10 feet. She goes, so, it explodes into a mound. It explodes into a mound of quivering flesh. I'm like, cool. I'll grab his teeth.
Yeah, I know. I tried taking a tooth,
Yeah.
but my roll was just...
Yeah, your roll was crap.
Yeah, so I spent like 10 minutes trying to get a tooth.
Yeah, you got like one tooth, and I rolled really well for some reason.
Yeah, you just
And then I'm like,
yanked it out of there.
5 flipping teeth. Like, she described it as, I somehow managed to bring out a pair of surgical gloves from nowhere.
Yeah,
and then
it's not
broke
even
out
the
its
time period.
No, and like I broke out its teeth, and then I like shoved them into my backpack, and like in that same. Oh yeah, and I got like some chunks of bones and stuff from inside of its stomach, and I shoved those in the backpack, and then we all walked upstairs. We started walking up the stairs, and there was this one room behind a door, and there was like, we could see like firelight coming out from behind it. And so we all decided to open the door, or no, I think I decided to open the door and check out what was inside of it.
You just ran ahead.
Yeah, because that was my character, and also kind of how I do things most of the time anyways, I kind of just pushed ahead just to see what was going on, because adventure! And, so I ran ahead, opened the door, and I'm like, guys, there's a flaming skull in here. And you go, wait, I'm a necromancer. And you you went, because we weren't playing by classic D&D rules, because none of us
were all homebrewing.
Yeah, we
stuff on the spot.
We didn't know how the game worked, and we didn't really care. So
we were just trying to have fun.
Yeah, like Chromancer. And you turn the flipping flame skull off, which is actually supposed to be a really dangerous enemy.
Yeah, and then we ended up just having a friend.
Yeah, and then you turned it off, and then I went over, looked at it for a second, and I'm like, cool, skull! And I pick it up, and I tie it up with like some weird cordage that I just had on me for some reason, and I tied it to my belt.
In your bundle.
Yeah, and I tied it to my belt, and you went, hold on a second, and you cast a thing on it that like reanimated the head. So his name was like what? What was his name? It was flipping like Nick or something like that.
I think I named it Graphite.
Something like that.
It was Graphite.
Or like Alex or something. I don't remember. It was some really dumb name.
No, it was just Graphite.
It was some really dumb name. And then it turns out he was also a bard at some point, and while I was fighting, we would duet songs and stuff. And it was so stupid. We should totally get that gang back together and go on another random adventure.
That was a lot of us.
That was so much fun though. Reanimate the skull of the guy. And we like get to know him, or like I get to know him a little bit. Y'all couldn't care less, but I got to know him a little bit. And while I was doing that, y'all were investigating the room, and we were there for like half an hour.
Yeah, we were there for way too long.
We were in the same room for half an hour, and Amber eventually just went, okay, there's a button under a broken table in the corner. And they pressed the button, and then a hole opened up in the wall that was like just big enough for me to fit into. And then I found like a little necklace. I'm like, yes, loot! And I ran away with it.
For like 15 minutes, your brother tried squeezing into a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. There was like a brick missing from the wall, and he's like 7 feet tall, and he was trying to fit into like this 2x2 hole.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working.
And he was so infatuated with that hole.
Yeah. Eventually,
Don't take that the wrong way, please.
Like after I got the necklace, I think it was me. It was either me or it was Jesse. Eventually, just said, you know what? We should probably move forward. We've been here for a while. And I kicked the flipping door open to the next room. And then it was just a huge room full of money. And then I'm standing there and I'm like, oh, this is not good. And then Jesse walks in and he's like, money! And he starts shoveling money into his bag.
It was like the Lord of the Rings thing.
Yeah, and then Colton went up, he was like, I'm gonna go find cool things. And he found like a golden sword or something, and then he was like playing around with the sword for a little while, and Jesse was just continuously shoving as much gold into his, like shoveling gold and gems and stuff into a bag. And you and me were both standing there at the door like, something is gonna come down here and something is going to kill us.
We were cautious.
Yeah, I'm like, and then she, DM goes, you hear a roaring and flapping sound in the distance. And then in character, I go, that's a flipping dragon, isn't it? Big ol' flipping dragon slams down. I think it was a green dragon or something like that.
Yeah, it was a green dragon.
She slams down, and then, it was like, alright, y'all gonna die. And then Jesse immediately, like, Scrooge McDucked into one of the flipping...
He just ran.
Yep, he
was out of there.
He Scrooge McDucked directly into a pile of money, and then just popped out, fired a couple of darts, and then fired a couple of crossbow bolts, and then went back into the money, and then, like, swam through the money to somewhere else.
Yeah, he was just popping shots.
Yeah. And, Colton was like, alright, let's do this. And he takes his quarterstaff that he had and ran up and started whacking it in the butt. Specifically in the butt.
Yeah.
He wanted specifically the butt. And then...
cheeks.
Yeah. And then, I decide to, oh no, then it was your turn. You started... Because you are a Ganassi and basically we flavored it as you were an earthbender. You just started going, okay, I'm throwing bricks out of the wall. I'm throwing the stones out of the wall with my earthbendy powers at the dragon and bashing it in the face, and like one of them hit me in the back of the head, and I was like, and then I went last, and my character went like, okay, I'm gonna seduce the dragon. And I got a natural 20 to seduce the dragon. So I'm like 4 feet tall, 125-pound robot with holding a ukulele, playing a love song to this massive flipping dragon. And like, as I was seducing the dragon, I look back at you, and I'm like, animate the flipping skeleton in my backpack. Because I had an entire skeleton in my backpack. And, so the next round, you were like, okay, I animate the skeleton in his backpack. Like, after taking pop shots and whacking it in the butt a couple more times, and the dragon somehow failing to hit any of us with fire breath, which green dragons aren't supposed to have in D&D.
Yeah, we were going by whatever.
Yeah, we didn't care. But, so, like, fire breath, and then, and, like, somebody scored a critical hit on it, so it just stopped the fire breath. And that was it. Which isn't supposed to be how that works, but it's fine. We didn't die immediately, so...
Not as fast as we thought.
Yeah. So, we, So we, you animated the skeleton, and you had it for a second. You had, like, a weird thought of, like, I tell the skeleton to start ripping bricks out of the wall. And then I'm just standing there, like, still seducing the dragon.
Yeah, you were just
like,
going.
I'm like, keep the dragon in a sexy mood. It'll keep it for me. It'll distract it long enough for us to tear down the flipping room. So the rogue not helping, the rogue and the druid not actually doing anything, continuing to poke it in the butt with a stick and shoot arrows at it ineffectively, and then shoveling gold into the flipping backpack. And I'm just like, and I'm over here like, flipping hurry with the flipping hurry with the walls. And I'm like, and then like she described it as the dragon was getting in closer, and then I'm like, I back up towards the door. And I think after like 3 or 4 rounds, I got so many natural 20s to flipping seduce the dragon. And like after 3 or 4 rounds, you and the skeleton ripped enough bricks out of the wall for the room to start collapsing. And then then the DM goes, okay, this room is collapsing. Y'all best get out of there. And I just went, cool. And I had like this little wrist blade thing because I thought it was cool. And I went, okay, I stabbed the dragon. I stabbed the dragon in the nose. And she goes, okay. I stabbed the dragon in the nose, and I yelled, everybody flipping run! And then I turn around, open the door, and I'm like, everybody flipping run! And I'm just sitting there yelling at everybody. You and the skeleton come in, and like have like the skeleton fold up and go back in my backpack.
He pulled a me.
Yeah. And luckily Jesse was just close enough to get into the door, and Colton's a tabaxi, so of course he had enough movement to get through the door before the room collapsed. And then the flipping ceiling collapsed on top of a fully grown dragon who we have collectively done 30 damage to over the course of like 7 rounds.
Yeah, we didn't do anything to it.
We did nothing, but it got smushed like a bug on a windshield.
We did the equivalent of it stubbing its toe.
Yeah, and then we collapsed then we dropped the building on it.
Yeah.
We literally dropped half a building on it.
0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, then I open up the door and I'm like, is it dead? It's dead! I'm like, cool. I'm gonna take its teeth. And then I shot out the little blade thing and I'm like, I'm gonna take its teeth. She goes, sadly, most of the teeth were crushed along with the head. And I'm like, my hopes and aspirations. And, I eventually, I got 3 or 4 teeth out of it, just salvaging through it, because I rolled really well for it. And then I decided to carve, while you guys were, roaming around through... While you guys were roaming around through the horde, collecting, just shoveling gold into your bags and, taking cool items that you found and stuff, and celebrating victory and all that, I think I took its teeth, and I was taking time to pick out the one that I liked most to turn into a knife.
Yeah. And
then I kind of just shoved them in my bag, and then I looked around for cool stuff, and I found a necklace, and then that was it.
Yeah, after that there was literally nothing found.
Yeah, because my character didn't care about money, because he didn't need money. So, I just grabbed a necklace and some teeth, and I'm like, alright, job well done. And then we go back to the tavern, and we're like, we killed that thing, and he's like, cool, here's your money, on top of all the money you've already got from killing the thing and taking its hoard. And so we ended up getting out of there with 800 gold pieces each.
Yeah, we got out of there with a lot of money.
Except for me, because I didn't accept any of the money. So I only had $60. I only had 60 gold pieces, all of which I think I spent on... I didn't even spend it yet. I took my time to perform at the tavern after we were done, because apparently we only got hit once, and it was Colton. So none of us got hurt, so we didn't really have to rest, and we weren't running spell slots.
And when Colton got hurt, he got hurt.
Yes, he got flipping whipped across the room, which was hilarious. But, because he was poking it in the butt, he was poking the flipping dragon in the butt with a stick, and he got whipped in the face.
Yeah, he just... to
Done.
the floor.
Done.
Or to the wall, actually.
Done. It was great. Flipping, what was I saying? Yeah, that was the greatest. That was the greatest.
Yeah.
And then we realized that it had been like 6 hours of preparation to, it was 6 hours of preparation and playtime. So it was like the couple days before Thanksgiving, and we all wanted to have food.
Yeah.
So we were like, you know what? It's about dinner time. Let's go have food. And then we just ended it, and we forgot that it ever existed.